Welcome to another edition of Punch TV. We have a big one for you today. It's Ghostbusters season, and we have the Ghostbusters coming right here on set. In tribute, I looked in my closet this morning and got the most Ghostbustery thing I could find. But this little costume does not compare at all to the girls who are dressed up for Gumbet A. We have special guests coming on to tell us about the excitement that is brewing for the Gumbet A convention, which is going to be happening on July 23rd here in Saskatoon. So stay tuned for that. And of course, it wouldn't be Punch TV without Hank and Tony and Craig. So stay tuned. There's a lot of busting going on. Who you gonna call? I am here with Blake and Evan, part of the Ghostbusters team in Saskatchewan.
That's right.
Your gear is super cool. So tell me about your outfit first. Did you make this or did you buy this?
Oh, we build everything. You really don't have a store that you can go to get like cyclotrons pre-made. You kind of have to do it in the garage.
So when was the first time that you saw Ghostbusters, and what do you remember most vividly about that first introduction to that world?
I was a little guy, and I remember they walking into the hotel. They went from a very normal group of scientists down on their luck. They got their very first call, and they walked in trying to act and blend in as much as possible, act normal, unsuccessful, getting on an elevator, turning on that big beast in the back there and getting very worried about what was going to happen next. That was the moment that really crystallized in my mind the first time I watched that movie.
Who's your favorite Ghostbuster?
Me.
Okay, who is your favorite character in the first Ghostbuster movie?
Egon.
And why is Egon close to your heart?
You know what? Time has changed that for me. A lot of stuff has happened that makes me think about Egon much more fondly. But he was a man lost in his own madness, and he had enablers all around him that really just encouraged that, with chocolate bars and pats in the back, and just with a little bit of funding, that man made insanity come to life, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
It's a good quality. Who is your favorite Ghostbusters character from the movies?
You know, that's such a hard question, and I tell everyone the same thing. I loved every one of them because they just had each a different character behind them. You know, Bill Murray was so just dry with his humor and like, you know, witty. He was always on point. Dan Aykroyd was, you know, a scientist as well as just so enthusiastic about his role and what he was doing and loved the business, and it was so nice to see that passion. And then Egon again with the science, exactly what Dr. Burr next to us said. And to be completely honest with you, I really, really loved Ernie Hudson's character, Winston, because he coming into a script, he worked exactly with what he was given, and he nailed it. And to this day, he is still such an advocate for Ghostbusters at all the conventions and everything that he goes to. So I just love his passion and drive for it, and that he's keeping it alive to this day.
Cool. Well, you guys obviously have a passion for it. How did you get started with this organization of showing off your fandom?
In 2009-2010, I was in Australia doing my teacher's college. I'm a teacher. Actually, we were both teachers. And when I came home after graduating, I said, I'm going to buy myself a gift. And I, to this day, always wanted a proton pack. So I started, while I was still in Australia, I started researching and finding exactly what I wanted. And I was ordering stuff from Australia, sending it home to my place back in Ontario. And as soon as I got back from Australia to Canada, the first stop that I made, I met two other guys at my buddy's basement. He was a prop builder, so I bought a lot of the parts from him. And we just started chatting, and all of a sudden, the Ontario Ghostbusters was formed. So I'm actually one of the former founding members of the Ontario Ghostbusters. 3 of us started it back there, and it just grew from that point. I was recollecting all the collectibles, building my uniforms and outfits and proton packs, and gathering all the gear. And we started big. We started going to everything down south in Toronto. We tried to go to every kind of, we would go to Rib Fests and Busker Fests and anything. All of a sudden it's the Ghostbusters. So Ontario is doing really well. And then we ended up moving here for work, both my wife and I, and we realized that Saskatchewan was a little bit weak on the paranormal defense line, so we started the Saskatchewan Ghostbusters, and we pulled Dr. Burr and a couple other members out, and we've got a pretty solid crew now.
Awesome. How did you join the Saskatchewan group of Ghostbusters?
I actually heard about them from the Amazing Stories event last year, and I had already done a little bit of ghostbusting through my my local community. And through the website and through Twitter, I kind of sought out Blake and his crew, and we've joined forces, and it's been a really good union.
Cool. So if anyone wants to get involved, how can they join and become a Ghostbuster?
You can check out our website, which is www.saskghostbusters.ca. You can also find us on Facebook or Twitter. You can just search up the Saskatchewan Ghostbusters and we'll pop up.
That's awesome. Well, I hope that with the movie success, you will get a whole bunch of new volunteers for the crew, and you can continue to keep Saskatchewan safe from the paranormal activity that may threaten us.
Always be here. We will always be on point. Wherever there's paranormal needs, the Saskatchewan Ghostbusters are there.
Excellent. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters.
Punch TV is brought to you in part by Amazing Stories, providing Saskatoon with comics, games, toys, graphic novels, t-shirts, and more for over 22 years. Online at AmazingStoriesComics.com. In person on 8th Street in Saskatoon.
We have special guests from Gumbet A. If you don't know, Gumbet A means do your best, and it is an upcoming con here in Saskatoon. We're super excited about it, and we have special guests Annie Shadden, Tiffany, and Hind here to tell us all about it. Tell us about your costume first. Who are you dressed up as?
I'm dressed up as CO Phantom High from Black Butler, an anime, also a manga first. He's a 12-year-old boy with a demon butler, so he's a little bit bratty, but he has his reasons. He just has really cool outfits. He's based in England, like Victorian times, so he has like all these cool, intricate outfits and like lots of random accessories. Like I have an eye patch and stuff, and like a demon seal.
Yeah, the eyes are amazing. I don't know if we can get a close-up of this, guys, but yeah, there's like a pentagram in your eye.
For the contacts, I had to find them online and buy them. It took a while. It was definitely a hunting process to find the right contact.
For sure. Tiffany, tell me about your Yato costume.
Okay, so Yato is like a Japanese god. He doesn't really have any followers, so he just does like odd jobs like cleaning bathrooms, finding cats, stuff like that. And so yeah, this is his like trademark tracksuit, but everyone thinks it's disgusting. So yeah, I made the jacket myself. I haven't made pants yet, so I just like bought pants from Value Village.
This is probably a more comfortable cosplay than some outfits. They get pretty intricate.
Except for when it comes to like warm days. Like I'm thinking about wearing this in the summer. I'm like, I'm gonna die, so I'm just gonna like stay inside, not go outside.
That works too. And okay, so good. Judy Hopps, this is amazing. What was the inspiration behind you choosing this costume?
I actually really liked Zootopia myself. The movie itself was really cute, and it really kind of like touched me because I was like, oh, like I wanted to be a cop when I was in high school, and essentially the movie came out, and I was like, look, she wants to be a cop, and like nobody believes that she can be a cop. So I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna go and get on this, and I guess let it inspire me as I'm dressing up and living vicariously as a rabbit cop.
I especially love the shoes.
Yeah.
The little bits of fur sticking out is absolutely adorable. Now, did you make this? Did you buy it?
No,
half-half?
it's like half-half. Like most of it is like bought. The only parts that like I kind of worked on and like meshed up is like, ears and like the feet and like the tail. And that's about it. Yeah, no, the fur was kind of a little bit hard to work with and like making sure everything stuck together, but I think it looks pretty good in the end. So
It looks amazing. And I think one of the great things about going to cons is that you get to show off your handiwork a little bit and maybe get some tips from other fans who are dressed up that, you know, have been over that hurdle before and it's like, yeah, no, I had a horrible time getting my ears to stick up and here's what works, super glue or whatever. So Gumbet A. It's happening July 23rd.
At TCU Place. It's going to be lots of fun. So far, our fire limits that we just got upped a little bit because we had a lot of ticket sales at the beginning, like 100 tickets like bought in like one day. So our fire limit is now 1,000 people. If 1,000 people shows up, great. Awesome. Our tables are like 70% sold out. We have a great group of volunteers who really want to get involved and see the community like.
That's what this is about, right? It's about building the community. So I would imagine that there's probably a lot of like people who secretly do this at home, read manga, watch anime, want to dress up, but are maybe shy about taking it to the streets, or maybe they don't have a lot of friends that share that same passion. This is probably a perfect opportunity for them to come out and meet like-minded folks who love the same stuff that they love.
Of course, and I find personally like Saskatoon is a little bit of a more closed community. A lot of people from small towns, they don't really understand or know about a lot of different things such as this. When you go to Calgary, like they'll randomly be like, hey, let's do a meetup, let's go for sushi, and like 20 people will show up in costume and be like, hey, like Attack on Titan meetup, yay. Like it's great. So like it's a little bit more accepting, bigger city of course. So like that's kind of like where we're starting, is like we want to be what that is and like have everybody like know each other and a great group of friends. And like I've seen people make friends at the Gumbet A events, which is like what the whole point of it is. Like we do fundraisers and we don't really make much money off fundraisers, but we have a heck ton of fun hosting them and watching people like I'd see people at our recent cosplay art show. I saw a girl that was sitting alone, and I was like, hey, you're sitting alone, come here. And I just like grabbed her hand. I was like, what's your name? She's like, oh, my name is I'll say Sarah for now. Okay. My name is Sarah, and I was like, okay. And I walked her over, and I was like, have you met Sarah? And there's like 5 people, and they're like, hey, like, and at the end, I saw her like adding people on Facebook, like sitting beside, like snuggling up, like making friends. It was great.
That is what it's about, right?
It is.
Awesome. Well, if there's anybody out there who feels like they want to be a part of this, they should come out. How can they get a ticket for Gumbet A?
Gumbet A, the tickets are only available online right now because of QR codes and stuff. It's just for the ease of moving in lineup. So if you buy your ticket online, it's $35 for VIP right now, $30 for general. VIP gets you a cool like lanyard pass, and you can keep the lanyard part as a keychain for the rest of the year if you really want to show off your Gumbet A style. And yeah, like definitely come check it out.
Awesome. Okay, mark your calendars. Be sure to come out for this. It's not to be missed. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey punchers, it's me, Hank, and I'm going to interrupt this segment of Tweetbeat to bring you a brand new segment that I like to call Pickup Lines with Hank. That's right, the new Ghostbusters movie is going to hit the big screens, so use this line when you're out, but don't cross the streams. So here it is. Hey baby, who you going to call? This guy. All right, back to Tweetbeat. So on Tweetbeat today, we are going to be talking about the 2 brand new Ghostbusters video games, and this will be the second time that I'm saying it. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, it's mass hysteria, it's Tweetbeat! Ghostbusters Slime City on iDevices and Android is scary bad. I ain't afraid of no ghosts, but I'm afraid of wasting time playing this. 31 out of 100. Ghostbusters, the brand new 2016 version on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Surprise! It's a 4-player co-op featuring new recruits trying to save the city. Forget the city, save your money. 43 out of 100. So that about wraps things up. Send your tweets about the new Ghostbusters movie, your thoughts and feelings about the new video games. Send them to @HankandKelso and @ShawPunchTV. That's it for me. See you next time. Tweetbeat.
Punch TV is brought to you in part by Amazing Stories, providing Saskatoon with comics, games, toys, graphic novels, t-shirts, and more for over 22 years. Online at AmazingStoriesComics.com, in person on 8th Street in Saskatoon.
Believe in ghosts. Hey everybody, welcome to The Collector. This is an insane day here at Shaw Studios, the Punch set, because we have Saskatchewan's Ghostbusters in the house. We are right now talking to Evan, who is the maker of all things Ghostbusters, and we got Blake here, who is the buyer, the collector. So we are like intense with Ghostbusters stuff. Evan, you've been building things now for how long?
5-6 years.
Wow.
I like free cycling, and I like building stuff out of basically garbage. And I thought that this would be a great fusion of my interests. I built my first proton pack a number of years ago. Not this one much worse. And then I've been building ever since.
That's crazy. Now, Blake, you're putting me to shame here with your Ghostbusters collection compared to my Star Wars collection. And this isn't even like all of it. This is like stuff that you have stuff even in Ontario.
Yeah.
Why did you get into Ghostbusters collecting? What happened? How did that start? When did you get the disease?
The disease? Ghostbusters has been a major part of my life for my entire life. It was actually, I lost my dad at a very young age, and one of the memories that I have of him is waking up every Saturday morning and watching the real Ghostbusters cartoon show with him, and he would record all the episodes for me on VHS. I used to have all the tapes recorded that I'm pretty sure I wore out. And so it was always a big thing. It was Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles back then, but obviously mainly Ghostbusters. And I was fortunate that my mom, whenever something new came out, she would buy it. So I had everything as a kid. And then as I hit the teenage years, she decided it was time to sell it all in the yard sale. So I lost everything.
This is the story I hear from every collector.
I'm sure it is.
This is the story.
So then I became, well, obviously an adult with his own money, so we started going a little bit overboard, trying to bring back that childhood, some of the things that I lost in the yard sale, and fortunately it's kind of exploded a little bit more than...
A lot of the stuff I see here is stuff that, like, some of it I've seen at the store, but a lot of it I've never seen before. So are you actually on eBay every day looking for new stuff and like deciding what's new and so forth? Or?
There's a lot of eBay searching. There's a lot of, we frequent the GB Fans website, which is all things Ghostbusters. You can get there. So they have a shop themselves, and they get some of the first releases of any new merchandise. So I'm kind of watching on there to see what's coming out, seeing what I can get here locally, because there's unfortunately not a lot that we can get locally. There's a lot of stuff here, but there is actually now, especially from Amazing Stories, which has been beautiful.
I heard that's a pretty awesome story. Yeah,
a lot of the stuff has actually came from there because you guys they're actually getting it in, which...
Yeah, and it's fun. I'm glad, like, when we get it in, it's always exciting. So, okay, now I noticed a few things here that you're getting, like the Toys R Us exclusive, which is obviously something I've never seen before. Some of the older things, like the newer things, but I've never seen, like the Hot Wheels. But I noticed one thing right away, the ectoplasm. Now, so did you make the ectoplasm yourself?
Yeah, so we have obviously merchandise that you can see here, a lot of things that we bought, but we also have, because we are the Saskatchewan Ghostbusters, a lot of our props and materials is what we bring to the show. We do bring collectibles to show everybody that you can buy a lot of this merchandise and it's still out there. But we tend to go in depth into the movie and start pulling things from the movie so that we actually have prop replicas to bring to any kind of events that we're at. So the slime itself is actually made to replicate the slime that you would see in the movies, the video games. We have the black caustic seep, we have ectoplasm, we even have... this one is actually pretty interesting, a roasted marshmallow residue, which has been captured for the last 2 years and kind of scary, still in pretty good shape.
It still looks pretty good.
Still looks pretty good, yeah.
Okay, now moving over, segue. Evan, you are the builder. You're like you're building. You built the proton packs.
Yep.
You've built the containment units, which is at the front. Then you've also built, like, you're building. This is amazing.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, a large part of it is I get on the research and get to look at a lot of the photographs, especially from the new movie, which, I mean, there's some things that have been released to the public, a lot of, to be revealed on release date questions that prop builders often have. But, I've been really enjoying, I think, building something that I can't buy. I mean, nobody builds proton packs at pre-made, preset like the ones that we're wearing or that we show. Either Blake or myself or somebody has to go buy parts and research some of the stuff you can find that's been, made sort of for collectors. They've been remaking little pieces that look just right. And some stuff you need to start digging through hardware stores and very strange, small, locally owned hardware stores.
It's amazing how, like, just the detail that you've put into your builds and are amazing. It's like, it's really, it's awesome how you guys have brought your love of Ghostbusters together and you've, like, made it into Saskatchewan Ghostbusters. Now, you do charities.
We do
You do charities. You do all kinds. You go to cons, and, like, this is a pretty awesome thing. Fundraisers.
So,
yeah.
Yep.
We could be at a Rib Fest, Fringe Fest. You never know where you're going to see the Ghostbuster car or our giant 22-foot inflatable Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
And that is the best part about what you guys do, I think, is because the kids, obviously, and the adults just love to see the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and just the collectibles themselves are pretty awesome.
One of the things that we're doing a little differently today is that normally when we appear as Ghostbusters, we appear as Ghostbusters. We don't dress up as Ghostbusters. This is just, we're done our shift for the day.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to talk, like normal people about our fandom.
Awesome.
But really the rest of the time that people see us, we talk and act as much as we can as though we have had a long, hard day of busting local ghosts.
And that's awesome. Okay, guys, we got to wrap it up. So where do I find you guys on the internet, or what's your
You can
handle?
get a hold of us at www.saskghostbusters.ca. Our Facebook link and our Twitter link is also attached to our website. And whenever you can see us down, you know who to call.
Awesome. You know who to call, guys. Saskatchewan Ghostbusters. Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. Well, I am here with movie geek Craig, and of course, the huge movie is coming out. And I want to talk about the politics of what is going on in the internet world. There is like a ton of negativity surrounding this movie. So what is the deal? What do you think, like the whole fan entitlement thing? What's going on?
Well, you're right. There's enough negativity to power a river of slime beneath Saskatoon, or the earth, I guess it would be. So, I mean, just to give you the quick, like, back and forth for anybody that doesn't know, is basically they had released the trailer for the new Ghostbusters reboot, I guess you could call it. And, the internet goes wild, all the fans go wild, and they actually start becoming quite mean and rude about it, and you're behind the anonymity of your computer or your phone or whatever, you can say whatever you want, but actually starting to get quite misogynistic and weird about it. And so director Paul Feig eventually, like, sits in this for a long time, and then he hits back and says some things that we can't really say on TV. But I mean, you can understand his frustration, really. So it feels like we've reached peak fan entitlement with this new Ghostbusters.
Okay, but like there's reboots all the time. Like every big franchise is like, cha-ching, here's an opportunity to make more money and please the fans, blah, blah, blah. So like, why is this one so different? Why so much negativity?
Well, obviously it's a big movie that people remember from their childhood. I think the main focus of the negativity, and people will probably argue this, but it's the fact that instead of the 4 men being the Ghostbusters, they flipped it to 4 women. Now, we can talk about the trailer. Say what you want about the trailer. It didn't inspire me with confidence either. So, but I think most of this rides on just sexism, plain and simple. And here's the thing: if you say that you're not, no, it's not about the sexism, but they shouldn't have changed those to 4 ladies. Like, why does it matter that it's 4 ladies? Those characters were nothing, there was nothing male inherent about them. Say Wonder Woman, there's something very female about Wonder Woman and how she deals with men and where she came from. So you couldn't probably really make that into a male character. With the Ghostbusters, it's a reboot too, so it's not like they're not carrying on those same characters really,
Right.
And we don't even know to what degree in the movie they'll take on the aspects of Peter Venkman or whoever, right? So I mean, I think sexism, plain and simple, is really the big answer to that.
Well, and okay, like how much can you judge the movie by a trailer anyway. I mean, it's not Marvel where you're like, seeing the whole Avengers movie in the 30 seconds on the commercial. But like, can you really judge something by its trailer?
I don't think so. No, I mean, you can't really, right? You're just seeing a slice of it. Now, as I said, I mean, I saw the trailer and I was like, I don't know, I'm not really excited about that either. So, but, nothing to do with the women for me. I just thought the trailer didn't really look that funny or exciting. However, as a film critic and as a film goer, just in general, you can't judge something based on a 30-second or a minute snippet you've seen of it. You have to see the full movie. I can't even watch half a movie and walk out and then really review that movie, right? I think of something too like, this wasn't a trailer, but the early announcements and pictures of Ben Affleck in Batman vs. Superman. Now, again, we could argue about whether that movie's any good or not, but the fans flipped out. Batfleck, it was called, and everyone's flipping out. How can Ben Affleck do this? Now, fast forward to when the movie comes out, and he ends up being the best part of that movie, and hopefully the best, if they bring him on as a director for future projects like a standalone Batman movie, hopefully he'll be the best part of that, really. So you can't judge a book by its cover. It's a cliche for a reason, right?
You can't. I mean, but this hits close to home for so many fans. Like, why do you think they have so much ownership of it? And do you think that fan service is like ruining movies?
Well, I think the reason why, we feel we own some of these movies, I mean, we're right in the age, you and me, we were kids when Ghostbusters came out, and other movies like Star Wars or anything like that. So, I mean, we feel obviously a deep kinship to these movies. We all go through different things in our lives, lonely periods and stuff like that. And I think that these movies or franchises or whatever, it doesn't have to be a movie, but these things speak to us. They're like family members, and sometimes they're the only friend that we have in certain situations, or they seem to get us. They seem to speak directly to us from the screen right to you, and all those other people in the theater don't matter. It's speaking directly to you. So I think sometimes people mistake that feeling that they get inside for, oh, well, everybody needs to know, like, how I feel about what's going to happen with this. And in terms of whether it can ruin a movie or not, I mean, sure, for sure it can. You look at something, though, like the Star Wars The Force Awakens, and he had to ride a line, J.J. Abrams, and I think he did a great job of, like, you can say there's a lot of beats in that movie that are the same as Star Wars, basically, but he had to ride that line between not going too far from Star Wars the way even Lucas did with the prequels, and serving the fans still, but still bringing the universe into a new time with new characters. And people still criticize him for how that went, but I think like he did exactly what he had to do in that moment. So yes, you can ruin movies with fan service, but you can also try to do a good job with it.
All right. Well, we are out of time. I guess the proof will be in the pudding. Time will tell the test of time. Whether it's good or not. So hopefully we can have you back and you can give us your opinion once we've seen the movie, and we can weigh in at that point.
Right on.
All right. Thanks a lot, Craig.
You bet.
All right. We will be back right after this.
Punch TV is brought to you in part by Amazing Stories, providing Saskatoon with comics, games, toys, graphic novels, t-shirts, and more for over 22 years. Online at AmazingStoriesComics.com, in person on 8th Street in Saskatoon.
That wraps up another episode. Goes by so fast. A big, big thank you to the fellas from the Ghostbusters, to the gals from Gumbet A, and of course, to you for watching. Keep your dukes up.
Frightening.
That is super creepy.
This is the stuff you actually see, and then it's swap back before.